Everyone agrees on the importance of education, making sure our kids are prepared for the future and can compete in today's global economy. Cedar Falls has a tradition of strong support for pre-K through 12 education. Our residents know that quality education systems relate directly to the economic success of the community. This support has allowed our district to offer students up-to-date textbooks and new technologies, along with new and renovated buildings. But that's just part of the story to creating a world-class education system. Research confirms that the most important factor contributing to a student's success in school is having the best possible teacher in every classroom. We're fortunate to be able to hire quality teachers, but like many other professions, participation in professional development is key and leads to increased student achievement. While it's true that professional development time can cause families to juggle schedules, the reality is in countries where student achievement is the highest, teachers spend even more time collaborating with their peers in order to be more effective when they're working with students. And research shows that this time is most effective when teams of teachers meet on a regular basis, working collaboratively and sharing knowledge about the needs of their students to ensure that all students learn. Using these collaborative teams as building blocks, the Cedar Falls School District has made the commitment to building a professional learning community, or PLC. By operating as a PLC, our educators acknowledge that the fundamental purpose of our schools is to help all students achieve high levels of learning, and that we are willing to examine all of our practices in light of their impact on learning.
The important thing, the crucial thing, I think, is that this time is not wasted. This time truly is spent making the opportunities we're giving students to learn even better than they already are. Teachers are using this time to really come together and make sure that the most important things are taught and that every single student within each class actually learns it.
Pam Ziegler, Director of Elementary Education for the district, shares her thoughts on one of the main goals of a professional learning community.
We're establishing a pre-K-12 guaranteed and viable curriculum, so it won't matter which school that a student attends, they'll be receiving the same materials, and it also will help us to determine a pacing guide of when the skills will be taught at each school. The students will be taught specific skills and will be expected to master those skills, and if the students don't have those skills mastered, the teachers will provide strategies or interventions that will help them to master the skills.
The first step in setting student achievement goals is for teachers to determine what is it we want our students to learn. Not what should I be teaching, but what should all students be learning. Emily Wheeler discusses how the high school geometry collaborative team uses their weekly Tuesday morning time to answer this question.
In today's meeting, we were looking at what we have been teaching as our essential concepts in geometry and the Iowa core, and trying to mesh the two. So the things that as individually and as a department we think are important for our students to know and understand, what the Iowa core thinks is important for our students to know and understand, and put those two together. The other thing we did today is we took our midterm, which is an assessment over some ideas that we had previously aligned and mapped together and discussed. That allows us to make improvements. Is it the question that was poor? Is it the fact that they don't understand that and we need to reteach that and figure out a better way to get those ideas across to students? So the process is circular. I mean, it really is circular in the fact that you start here with the alignment and the concepts and the big ideas.
The next critical question teachers are asking is, how will we know if each student has learned? Well, teachers work collaboratively to develop common formative assessments, which will give them a beginning measurement of what students know about the current unit of study. Kim Abbas from North Cedar Elementary shares how the second grade team uses the collaborative process to determine if students are learning.
Then when we get the results from the formative assessments, that really allows us to look at what we're doing now and what we might need to change. For instance, mid-unit, we might decide, okay, wait a minute, this group of 5 or 6 kids really needs more instruction in this, so we need to either divide them up another way. We're both very flexible that way in dividing up our kids and kind of moving them around when we need to. Or bringing in Chris for interventions and saying, okay, can you come in either in the classroom if it works out for her, or later on in the day in her room and have her work with some students on some one-on-one things. So looking at those results from the formative assessments really kind of dictates where we're going from there. It really drives our instruction for that unit. But just having that time specifically set aside to look at students' learning has been so helpful, because otherwise it'd be very hit and miss.
Data gathered from the assessment process is used to help teachers collaborate on the critical questions of how do we respond when some students haven't learned, and how can we create opportunities for students who have demonstrated they know the material. These questions are explored by Renee Beneke and the collaborative team of 8th grade science teachers from Pete Junior High.
We'll pretest, and any student who receives 85% or above on the pretest has an option, if they already know the material, to actually work on something different while we're going through the material. We worked on some extension options for them, so they have some extra work that they can do, and the students always have an option to choose something that is related to the topic we're covering. And so we work through those extension options, and then we also work through what if the students don't succeed on the test in the end, and we sat down and we looked at some enrichment activities.
Dan Conrad, Director of Secondary Education for the district, discusses how the PLC process has already impacted district decisions.
I think the thing that we've been most excited about is having an opportunity to create intervention times during the school day. Another byproduct is the opportunity for us to really look at what we are offering as classes at the secondary level, and to reshape some of those classes to more correctly align with the Iowa core, to really look at what is important for students to learn, and to make sure that are we truly preparing those students for a college education or for the world that's out there.
And so that collaborative process and having the time. You ask any teacher anywhere in the United States, and what they will ask you for is time.
Sometimes in the past, the students who did not perform well, we just let them go. And we said, okay, you didn't understand it, and here's maybe why, but we're going to keep moving on because we have so much to cover. We aren't going to let students slip through the cracks anymore, and that focus on learning and knowledge of results is so important to us, because students will continue to learn.
That's what I've told just parents or neighbors or friends who have asked me about, okay, what are you doing during that extra time that you've had off on Wednesdays? It's just so much more focused, and it's so much more purposeful that it benefits everything we do.
We really believe that the professional learning community will be the new norm for Cedar Falls schools. It's not going to be a one-time shot. It's not something that we're just going to do temporarily until the next greatest thing comes along. It is going to be truly embedded into our professional development, into the way that we actually do work as a school district.